Duh! It's time. It was Sunday. Well, it wasn't Sunday. It was Thursday. And we were invited to a hoarder house. Not just me, but the lovely Donna Lynn Freeland invited me to the hoarder house with her. And today, we're going to take you through our fun at the hoarder house. So, as I said, it wasn't just me. This is actually somebody that is actually in our craft group named David. He actually took over as an estate clearer this house, and then he's been clearing it out and just happened to call Donna, and Donna happened to call me. So I want to thank that and thank Donna, who's now joining us here. Hey, Donna. So Donna actually lives about an hour away from us.
Nah, 45 minutes.
45 minutes away from us. And you've been reselling for how long?
Oh, don't even ask. 30 years?
30 years?
Plus 35.
So you started when you were 2 as well.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever been to this kind of thing that we're going to talk about today? To a house that was this full?
Never.
Neither have I. This is the interesting thing. So we're going to talk today about what it was like to go in there. We're going to talk about some of the stuff we found. We're going to show you pictures of the stuff that we found. Donna's got some she sent us, and I've got some that I've got. But then we're going to surprise each other with some stuff that we found that the other one doesn't know about. So, because Donna actually went once, then told David, told me you should contact Dave. So then I went, and then we decided we needed to go back for the 2 of us. So the both of us ended up going for another day. So we did a double day pick, individually and then together. It was a house that was full, so we're going to chat more about that. First, I want to say hi to everybody who's joining us here. Thank you so much for joining us here in our live on our Tuesday night $2 Digs Hall Pass. And a big extra special thanks to those of you who are members of the Kennel Club. And a extra big special too. Thank you to Michael and to Carrie Ann Bookman, who's also joins us on Whatnot a lot, but for joining us as a new member of the Kennel Club. Thank you so much. It's $3 a month, and hopefully we'll provide you with enough information in our shows that you'll see something you go, wait, I never thought about buying that, or I guess I shouldn't have bought that, or a tip on how to research something, or how to do a better listing, or to fix something that'll easily make you the $3 back. That's all we ask. So, and those of you also are in our Facebook group. Thank you for coming from here. So we got Kendra, who is, other than Michael's first, Diana, Tina, meow, just mixing things up. Janet, Julie from down in San Diego, Lisa, hey. Oh, Cameron's early today. Kathy, Marianne, Susan. Let's see what else we got in here. Holly, Heather and Bob, Elisa, Mr. Greg, and maybe Kathy if she's watching. Kevin, Krav Maga, right? Yeah, Kevin. Brian and Lisa. There we go. Oh, Sarah. Hey, Sarah. I don't want to miss anybody. Elisa. Lisa Boland from Winnipeg. I love a hoarder house. Haven't been to one for a few years, though. Charmaine's here, too. Let's see. You made it into the live chat. Yes, you did. Rick is downstairs trying to figure out how the laptop doesn't want to connect with him. So, so thanks to everybody here. So, yeah, so what ended up happening is David actually is a downsizer. So he has David's downsizing, and he picks up houses to get rid of. Now, I've been to a lot of estate sales that have been in hoarder houses. Have you been to those, Donna? Like
No.
A house that's just really, really full?
I don't even think I've ever been to an estate sale.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, hey, Sherry. Sorry. Oh, and sorry, Lisa. Hi, the both of you. Didn't see you, Sherry, there. I've been to a lot of estate sales that have been like a house that, like, we're going to show people, but it really was organized. So it was, you know how David had that one room, because David's already planning an auction, and he had this room that was sort of like, this table is set out, and I've got these things set out on this table. And I've been to that kind of hoarder house.
The 2 bottom rooms were organized, but upstairs was just...
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I've been used to. I've been to houses that have had like 200 like porcelain dolls on every shelf, in every room, on every chair. Like, But I've never been to something like this. So we're going to show you some video right now of just a couple of the rooms that we actually looked at while we were in there. And this is how, now, I will preface this with one big thing, because a lot of people go, ew, hoarder house. This was actually really clean. This did not have tons of torn apart animal, like dugout feces. Like, it was nothing like you sometimes see on the TV show Hoarders. Like, it wasn't filled with diapers and poop and bottles of urine, or like none of that. It was very, very, very clean. We did wear our gloves, but is still a hoarder house. It was an 85-year-old woman, I believe. She loved shopping, and she was one of those people who literally would go to Value Village or Goodwill or wherever, bring stuff home in a bag and throw the bag into a room and never open the bag again. And so Donna and I got to open the bags. But this is two little videos here to show you. This is what we experienced when we were in there. This is like one of the rooms.
There's an old Value Village bag there. That shows you how old it was.
Now, this room had already been half emptied. David showed me a picture of this room, and as you see at the very beginning there, everything was piled as high as the dolls that you see up on the top there. That was like to the door. This is filled. Like, this is the fact that you actually could see something. There's a computer, and there's like pieces of computer books and debt under there, and there's a computer printer over there that I don't think was ever used. Here's another from a different room. Again, piled. Now, she focused on, like, back there is a closet. No, we didn't even get anywhere near the closet. We could not even we barely could get into this room. I'll rerun that one again so I can pause that to show you that. So this is piled so high that when Don and I were in there, we could not get past sort of this halfway mark. Nothing that was further back, as well as into that closet, we could not get.
Wants to ever dig through that room, to tell you the truth. I think.
That's like bags and bags and bags and boxes and bags, and no organization literally whatsoever to pretty well anything that we saw in there. It was literally piled. It does look like fun. It is. It was fun. It was exhausting too, to a degree, wasn't it? You did a couple of hours there the first time, so did I, and then we both did another couple of hours the next time. And we didn't get through that other room, that second room.
It was exhausting.
Carl says, I would be so overwhelmed. Diana, oh, I would love to be there. Lisa said she went to an amazing sale that went on every week for a couple of months, all new with tags. Lady had a massive shopping problem. She bought 14 sets of stainless steel rolling shelves for her. Lisa, feces sales are the best. No, they're not. Well, David was actually pretty good with this hoarder sale. As he said, put your stuff together and we'll do a price on it. So he had actually been looking through a lot of stuff. What was David's story to you, Donna, when he started talking to you about this?
So I'm trying to think. Let me go back to like late last year. I was at picking up auction items about a half an hour away from me, and I met him there, but I didn't know who he was. And we just got talking, and I was telling him I had an antique booth, and he said, oh, I have one at Vintage Vendors, and I'm picking up stuff for Susan. I'm like, well, whoa, I'm opening my booth there in a couple weeks. So then he started telling me that he had started telling me about this house, and some of the items that he first got from that house, he put in that auction. So I actually indirectly purchased from him. And then I didn't think anything else from it up until maybe earlier on this year, maybe in February. And he was reminding me to come and do a pick there, because there was tons of stuff still there. A lot of it was like the stuff I had bought in auction, but there was, other things as well that I can, definitely find and pick. So I said, okay. And that's when I went, what was it, about a week or so before you and I went, and I picked up a ton of stuff. Like, there was 4 huge boxes that I initially picked up. And then at the end of the sale, he said, well, do you know anybody else that might want to come that would, buy in like a lot of stuff? And I said, well, yeah, Craig and Rick. And then that's sort of how things snowballed from there.
And I thank you, and Rick doesn't. But that would be a typical. Maybe Rick wouldn't come with me.
I don't know.
Rick would not come with me. So
I was to see him.
I know, but he wouldn't come with me. Now, there's a couple other comments that came in that was just interesting. Heather actually said she went to an estate of a guy who bought every holiday thing on QVC, which is like the shopping club, shopping channel, and his wife never knew it, and it was all in storage. Susan Vince worked for an estate sale and has done several hoarder houses. Yeah, and that, and again, there's another comment I'll say. Lisa said she made $3,000 profit from that sale where she bought those shelves, and plus saved about $1,500 on the shelves themselves. So, I mean, that is amazing stuff there. Now, there is something that is real. It is true. Elisa made the comment, QVC and home shopping are evil for people who are physically or mentally ill. When your mom was in the nursing home and in the hospital, she would buy and buy and buy, and then someone would have to ship it all back. And we're not trying to say that hoarding itself is a challenging mental disorder. And a lot of people who have it, it's very serious. But as a reseller, it's kind of it's the same sort of line that we have to live in that is exactly like the line of, oh my God, somebody just died. Let me get his records on. Or somebody's in a scandal. Let me get that thing of theirs on. Like that, because that's the way it just happens in the reselling world when we look at things that may have a line that's leaning towards the tragic side. And we do sort of as resellers, we're taking advantage of it in some cases. At estate sales, thrift stores, all of those things. When you go into a thrift store and you see a shelf or 5 shelves that are filled with elephants of every shape and kind, in it's probably somebody downsizing or may have passed away. There's lots of reasons for that to be there. So we're not trying to in any way, shape, or form make fun of the hoarders as an issue, but we ourselves, and Donna, I think you said the same, we're hoarders in our own sense because we buy so much stuff and you can't flip it fast enough. I wish we could flip every single thing we list and have it out of here within a week. We don't. I wish it was that way. We sold something yesterday that I think was listed for 2 years that I completely forgot we even had. And it was like, oh, somebody bought that? It's like, I didn't even remember listing it. So when it sold, it was like, so that's kind of a bit of a hoarding kind of thing.
Oh yeah. I warn people when they come into my living room, I tell them I'm not a hoarder. I'm a reseller. And they're like, oh. So. But it's neat. I keep everything neat, and I think that sort of justifies it for me anyway.
Yes, and we try and do the same thing. Rick is saying there's an air of opportunism to reselling. Yeah, I guess that's a nicer way of saying it. And in a way, yes, we are really helping people deal with whatever's left. Lisa just says, I sell dead people stuff. Like she's true. And Greg's got a really good point. If it would go to the dump in some of the cases if it wasn't for some of us actually taking a look at it and go, oh. And Sherry's got another point like us. I wish I could list everything I buy. I mean, here I am, and Donna, you and I both just went to a hoarder house and bought stuff. And what did I do today? I went out thrifting. Now, I know you said you haven't been thrifting in a little while, but I came home with 3 bags of stuff today. Because I had to, because I couldn't pass up that sort of thing. We are recycling in one essence. Heather says she tries to keep everything out of the living room. Oh, that's another way. You're a pack rat. Yeah, so we'll call ourselves pack rats, I think. Now, when I talk about the fact that we say we have stuff and we bought stuff, this is what I mean. This is, let me just get to, let me just show you. These are a couple other pictures of just stuff that was in those rooms that we saw. So this is what, we're literally looking at rooms that are filled like this with stuff. Like it's just boxes and bags. And a lot of the bags were still tied up. Completely tied up. So this happened to be a box I found that was filled with fabric swatches, and they were clean and they were vintage. And I did actually leave them behind only because they were very small. this was a box, and I was saying to Donna, "Oh, did you get it?" It's like, no, this was on the pile in that one room that we finally found out after working in the room, around the room for an hour, that there was a bed in the room. So I could sit down on the edge of the bed. But we could get absolutely nowhere near that superstar Barbie that I was trying to see.
That would have been cool.
And again, like so many bags that I think both of us were opening, Donna, were both like they were tied up. Like,
yeah, there was garbage bags and valuable bags, and we were ripping them open. And
they're boxes that were things like this. These were just, this is 3 boxes just filled with random action figures, completely random action figures. Why they were loose, I don't even know why they were loose. But that's what I came home with on my first pick in the back of my truck. First pick.
That looks like my.
The second pick was about the same, but I'm not as neat in one aspect. This is what I actually turned this is my dining room table now. Now I thought this is a little full. Donna has me beat. This is Donna's.
That's my dining room as we speak. There's things under the table, on the table, piled up, in behind, to the sides.
It looks so nicely organized.
I know. It makes me feel better because I don't feel like a hoarder at that point.
Elise is like, when you see the Barbie thing, that's when you body serve over the mess. To see. Louette said she went to a retired Navy officer sale. His family didn't want anything, including his medals and service jewelry. We've actually found years ago, Rick found a Purple Heart at a flea market, and somebody sold it to us for $1. But what Rick ended up doing is, because you're really not supposed to sell military medals like that, is we actually found the Purple Heart Society in the US, which uses real vintage medals and reissues them to people who had got them but lost them. So we sent that at our cost. We sent it down to the Purple Heart Society down there so that they could actually re-give a Purple Heart to a veteran that is an actual 1960s Purple Heart. So that was a really nice, you watch that with some of the military-ish stuff. So,
yeah, you got to do good with your reselling technique.
Yeah, you do good as well. So you don't just do bad, you do good out of it as well. Your wife would kill you if you came home with so much stuff. And then, Rick said we had a clear dining room table for 2 days. Just 2 days.
Lucky.
And then what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to the States this weekend to a state sale. So just as but yeah, so we found all those. Oh, your father founded a chapter of the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Oh, didn't know that shit. Good to know, as you have his and didn't want to sell it. Yeah, it's actually it's an interesting thing. You can find out what to do with that. Rick actually, I think we originally thought about listing it. And Rick said eBay pulled the listing, but then we went, well, what should we be doing it? So look at this. Now, in all of that, you see all these little things very quickly. So here's your photo. And literally in the few seconds that was up, Diana, I spy vintage candle blow molds. Her eyes went straight to the vintage candle blow molds.
They've been sitting there a year.
So they weren't from this.
No, a different auction like a year and a half ago. I've just been lazy.
So just one other comment here. Holly went to an estate sale. It was a hoarder house. The estate sale guy threw out 3 dumpster loads before they had the sale. And Diana says she collects those, so she sees them right away. And that's true. It's like, it's the kind of thing I see them too. It's like we could go on a drive on a street sale and I can spot a vintage blow mold from like 20 miles away. So the one thing that David actually said, he told me, I'm not sure if you knew, but he said that like there were two, like it was the full house. Mm-hmm. There was an attic. There was 2 sheds in the back, garages, sheds in the back. And he told me he went through all of those. Like, so he had to empty out the sheds in the back. And he said the sheds in the back were disgusting. And he had to throw a lot of that stuff out. but he went up to the attic and he told me, and I guess this was you were saying that was kind of funny, is that before you knew you were going to shop from him live, you actually shopped from him on one of his high bid sales with stuff that he had from there.
He brought it to like an auction company that did it for him, so he would pay him what, 30% or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know that a lot of that stuff was his until like I spoke with him, and then that Hoarder House came up, and then
because he told me from there, like he had found vintage G.I. Joe stuff, Barbie clothes that were in packages, all sorts of stuff that I would have been, oh. So actually when I got there, and actually when Donna was there too in February or March, so I guess it's March, he said that this house had already been through multiple auctions, and at least 10 or 15 other pickers had come in and dug through the house. So Donna and I were kind of like the late bloomers to the house. So the fact that we actually could find anything was surprising. And the fact that it was bags and bags, you never know. But now we're going to show you some of the neat stuff that we actually found, because this is part of the fun. Elisa makes a comment to it. You went to a Hoarder House sale during a snowstorm in March 2020, right after lockdown, found masses of rare, vintage perfume bottles and glass bottles. You've made a couple of thousand. Oh, that's nice. Well, that's just it. If you can find something like that, that's amazing.
I love
Her favorite was a full French perfume from 1945. So,
wow,
stinky perfumes. Let me see. So let's just pop in and show you some of the stuff that we ended up picking up. So I'm going to go first to show you some stuff that Donna ended up picking up. So we're going to go this way. So the floor is yours.
Okay, so that was pick one without you, and that was in the upstairs bedroom, and I just happened to see when two of them in their original packaging there. They're probably like earlier than the 80s, but I just picked them up and threw them in a box, and now I've got them on Etsy for sale.
Yeah, people love flocked ornaments, and to have a little flock Santa, even from the 80s, that's in its package, those are great.
Yeah, I saw them, grabbed them, and left. Now, this is the same room as where all those crafting flowers you saw were?
Yeah, so we did pop into this one room that had, I didn't take a picture, but I should have taken a picture, and I thought I did take a picture of it, and it was, let's see if I can find it. It was a box of craft flowers. So in Canada, we had a company that is called White Rose Nurseries, and White Rose Nurseries was kind of like the Michaels of the 70s and 80s, and it was literally filled with every kind of crafting kind of thing that you could think of. And no, if I did take a picture, I don't know what happened to it. So there were boxes that were literally, oh, I just knocked something over. We were boxes that were literally like 3 feet long by like 2 feet wide, filled to the brim with these little pink flowers, like fake flowers. And there were 3 of those boxes. So I knocked over Barbara Ann Scott. Sorry, Barbara. Oh, Barbara. I hope I didn't break your neck, Barbara. Oh, no more skating for you. I got her there. I was going to talk about her later. So back to this. So back to those. So this was in that room.
Yeah, it was. I looked in the closet, and David just happened to be in that room. And I said, Dave, what's in that bag there? And of course, they were from White Rose. It was in a White Rose bag, I think. And it was all these crafting dolls. So you'd buy the plastic dolls, and, some lady would crochet dresses and whatever, and do whatever they, do with them and sell them. So there was a bag of about 97 of them in there. So he goes, oh, how many do you want? Well, just give me the whole bag. So I just grabbed the whole bag because I've done really well with those type of dolls before. And so
100, you got like 100 of these little guys?
Yeah, I haven't sold these exact small dolls. I've had slightly bigger dolls. And I've almost completely sold out of them. And these ones, so I grouped them in 6 for about $50, and I put them on Etsy, and then I just did multiple listings. And that was it. And that was, I didn't know what that was, but I knew it was from some vintage doll from the 60s. And it turns out it's the armoire for Heidi, that little doll, 3-inch doll. So I listed that on Etsy. And then I found, right as I was leaving that sale, David was showing me some dolls. I said, "Oh, there's Farah. I'll take that if you're selling it." He said, "Yeah." So I listed on Etsy, and I sold her within a couple of days. So that's the first thing I've actually sold from the 2 picks.
So this is, it's so, I hate when I see this huge run down this, because this is actually, but this pink outfit is really hard to find with the fur on it too.
Oh, okay. That I think that went to share.
That's why it probably sold, because Farah isn't necessarily that, but that outfit with the pink shoes is probably the reason that it sold. Now, the biggest challenge that those of you who may end up ever dealing with this kind of doll, I don't know if you can see it here. There's a little mark that's down around here in the crotch area. The Mego dolls from the 1970s, Farah, Diana Ross, Linda Carter, they all have terrible melting hips. So the rubber that's in their legs, what you see there, these can actually be stuck completely to the outfit. So when you have to pull, you might have to pull them apart just to get them. And if you actually have them undressed, you will see that everything in the nether regions is like lumpy, dried. Well, not dry, lumpy. It's just terrible to be discussing that area, but it's like a bad infection. That's the only way I can say it. In fact, legs can pop off because it's such a bad thing for them.
I think she was okay. Now, this was from the room from the first floor where the auction items were, but this was one of the sale, and I just picked it up. That was Daisy Duke. I didn't think anything of it, and then until I started to research her, and it turns out she's between like a $60 to $80 figure.
Oh, wow.
For $74.95. So I'm a little less than the most expensive one. But yeah, so she's priced in my Etsy store right now.
Now, when you found her, was this like, did you actually go, "Oh, I'm going to get her from like a bag or a box," or did you just grab a little bag of something and it was just in there?
She was sitting loose by herself, and I just
you didn't know it was Daisy Duke, though?
No, I didn't even know it was Daisy Duke, because on my first pick, I wasn't doing any Google searches. And then the second pick, I actually did some. So I didn't know who she was, and then I just threw her in a box. I was throwing stuff in boxes. I didn't even care at this point.
I didn't, on the first time, well, actually the second time too, I didn't Google search anything really, because David was doing such good deals for us to take so much of the stuff out that I didn't really think too much about it. I did bring home a couple of things that literally I was like, "Oh, this is worth nothing." I brought like one of the things that was throughout the rooms that we were in was plush, lots of stuffed animals.
And they weren't old enough to my liking.
They weren't. Some of them weren't old enough, and many of them, but they were all clean. Lots of them were in plastic baggies. Some of them were in sealed plastic bags. But like I grabbed some Hostess ones, but they're worth $3. So
check out that Felix the cat one that I found in a bag.
Yeah.
I found it, got talking, forgot about it.
Oh, I'm sure that. Well, I actually left stuff from my first pick there that I left, and when we went back, David said, "This is your bag. You just didn't even take it."
Oh.
So it was really nice about something like that. So, but yeah, so I didn't really Google search anything. I just sort of made my guesses. There's a nice set.
Yeah. You know what? That stuff was all over the place on the first floor, and I was digging through a couple boxes, and I was just grabbing dollhouse furniture. Don't know really why, but I decided to grab some because I saw I did see a few things from Germany, and most of it was Hong Kong stuff, and some of them were of different scales, but I just decided to grab them because I had also found some other little dolls, like German dolls, and for the dollhouses. So I just I just randomly grabbed stuff. And I don't know if you could see, there's those little lamps that have the little cords, and there used to be like a little adapter. You could plug them in and they'd light up.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought those were neat. So I grabbed those.
It's funny because the first thing my eyes went to was this little white dresser in the corner here. That's the first thing that Elisa said was, I like the white vanity.
Yeah, that was like the little tiny one.
The little one over in the bottom corner here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
It could be Arco, which is one of the companies, but it's so 70s. I just love that because it's such a 70s kind of thing.
Yeah, and this is something I don't know much about, but I'll buy it anyways. And then I found.
Nanu? Did you know who this was without looking him up, or are you too young?
Oh yeah, it was Mork from Orc, and I think that was from our pick. I think I found him at our pick. I don't. Jeez, I can't remember, but yeah, I've got him listed too. He's worth a little bit, but there's a lot of them listed. And then recently I was going through all my, like, of course, some of the baggies that she had from Goodwill or wherever she got them from. I was finding like little tiny Barbie stuff and researching it. And so I found that they're from 1989, and I can't remember what set they're from with Barbie, but there is some value. I mean, those two little picture frames are about $20 to sell.
I'm just Ken. Everyone else might be a 10. Pound puppies.
Pound puppies. I found that out during our pick, I think. And I think that one's going in my booth.
That's actually the nice thing about that is a lot of times when you find these older, like with the screened on printing for the thermoses, you find this worn down completely. So you've got a great image for a pound puppy collector there.
Yeah. So I'm debating whether or not I'm going to put it in my booth or not, or if I'm going to list it on Etsy. But
well, again, like we've sold a few things. Even recently, we sold some stuff on a couple of our Whatnot shows. We'd had an 80s and 90s girls' toys on Whatnot, and one of the things we sold was like some records that were Care Bear records that were a gift that we found, like, I think it was like 10 of them at a garage sale for $0.10 a piece. So it was like $1. And we were selling them to people for $5 because they said, this will be great with me to set my little guys up in front of. And that's the nice thing is if you get somebody who's a pound puppy collector, this would be great for one of their displays to be able to have this beside. It does actually, Michael, you're sure it does. It looks like Hong Kong Phooey, but it's not. We mustn't mistake the Tonka pound puppy with the iconic Hong Kong Phooey. Okay. Go fish.
And so at the end of our pick that we had, I went back downstairs, and for some reason I found the old kids playing cards, and there's most of them are marked 1960s, like 1961, like the Flintstones one and some other one. But that one old maid one, when I researched that one, that is the most expensive, most valuable one out of the lot. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to list them. It might be an Etsy item.
That is wild. I love the fact that it's like the old maid space age edition.
And that one is, I don't know, it's worth a lot. And whereas you go to Flintstones and it's not worth even close to near to that one.
Let's see if I can find this. Old age. There they are. Let's see. Oh, I want to sign me in. Oh, no, I want to go back to here. Let me just see. So 327 items. Sign me in now. Come on, log in. There we go. I'm on there. Lucky you can't see my password for anybody. $50?
Something like that. Like something stupid.
35. Mm-hmm. Wow. $35 for that old maid. There's a lot of people selling that old maid set for $35 US.
Right on.
That's great.
Was it like about $45 Canadian?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's such a cute set.
Yeah, and I would like, I just, something in the back of my head, I don't know who told me this, but I've always been, in the back of my head, it said buy them because there is money in them, but I didn't know anything about them when I grabbed them. So I just threw them in the box, and I was just about to get David to look at my stuff, and I just found those, and I threw them in the box, and that was it.
Heather collects real pound puppies. Lisa says she has a whole boot box filled with those card sets. Oh, and now that she has a cross-border shipper, she can actually list them. Yay!
Be worth checking them out. So
And no, that's why my password wasn't shown. So
I got another set of kids playing cards.
that's not my password.
And it's like, it's just.
Wait, let me get there. Here we go.
Old Maid and Mixies. And
No
I found
idea. Never heard of Mixies before.
Yeah, kids cards game, and they're older, but I don't know how old. Probably 60s. They were part of that too.
Here's a couple more of yours. This was actually interesting. This is a little paper dolls.
It's a little booklet.
Now the funny thing was, I on the second day that we were there found a box of 50 of those not that doll, but very close to that doll, in a box. So it's like Donna found that on the floor in a room. One, and I got 50 of them.
That's okay.
I was saying that one of the challenges that we have all the time for us is when we're buying things, sometimes we'll take a wild guess at something and it's a quantity of something. And this is one of those things where it's like, I don't know if they're worth a lot of money. I think they probably, out of the total pick, the 50 of them might have cost me maybe $10 worth of stuff. So I hope I can sell one for $10, and then the rest of them don't really have a cost behind them. But 50% of the stuff that I buy like this in bulk, it doesn't sell. So it's, again, wild guesses. Like, I did find one of them afterwards. I Googled image. There was one that sold through Etsy for, I think, $10 or $15 for one. But it's the only one that's sold in like a year and a half. There's nothing on Worthpoint or anything like that. So it's not that popular a thing. It's not a well-known publisher, a well-known image or anything. So Heather asked, did we go into different rooms and meet after? Well, we sort of did a combination of both.
I think we went upstairs, and then you went back to that one room for about 5 minutes. And then I barely started the room that hadn't been touched. And then you said, oh, is it okay for me to come in? And
well, it was about a half an hour, actually. I think we were on both rooms, and then we switched, and then we came back. Then you came back into the room that I was in, and then we were pulling bags out and going, what's in this bag? And things like that.
I wanted to have a good etiquette about this because I'd never done this.
No.
So that's why I said, okay, you look in that room. I barely started, and then I went back to the old room to see if there was anything I may have missed. And then I joined you again. And that's when we started ripping through bags and stuff.
But you had already found a couple of really good things in the room that I went into before I went into it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There was
like
a few.
This guy.
I see, and this is where I feel guilty, Craig, because I just like kind of grabbed him out of the box and I heard, oh, it's Green Goblin from you. And it was like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. And I did, and I still feel bad. But then I kind of thought about the story of you going into Value Village and then reaching over some kids to grab a Bratz doll from the wall. So then I stopped feeling guilty at that point. I just remember.
No, it was, and again, I didn't have any problem. You found a couple of amazing things. There was one bag I opened that I was like, oh, I went and reached and I grabbed this bag. I go, oh, here we go. So here's the bag, and I opened the bag up. Like Donna's, like it's like I was putting the bag literally between us. So I opened the bag up, and yes, so I opened the bag up, and Donna and I both reach in, and I pick out a doll. I go, oh, look at this doll. And I don't know what else is in there. And then all of a sudden, Donna goes, oh, look. And I was like, why did I give the bag to us both?
Sorry.
No, and you were like, I'm sorry, you want. It's like, no, the etiquette is like, you find it, you get it, that sort of thing. It's like, and then we were actually really good. We didn't end up doing any of it, but then I found 3 Charlie's Angels dolls. And then you said, well, if I decide I might want the Charlie's Angels dolls, maybe we'll find something that you can actually swap for, that this is for this. And I said, yeah. And then I think we both partially forgot that. But like, that was an amazing find in that baggie. That was in that bag.
I changed.
And did you get the little black talking doll? We couldn't figure out what it was.
I think I did.
That's like, Look at Greg is like dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar.
No, I think I did. But I haven't gotten to her yet.
Okay.
She's in one of my boxes back there.
Carl says everyone for themselves. No.
No,
If I didn't know Donna, that would be a completely different thing, right? Like if it was just he invited, if there was some other picker that was coming into the room, like then I wouldn't have lifted a bag up to go, oh, let's look through this bag together. Right? That's so it's not there wasn't.
And I was saying, oh, I don't want this, but would you like this? And
Yeah.
he was the same with me. So, and then those are the two biggest things that him and I. And then
I didn't even think about this. So, and of course, now it's the first thing I think. Elisa first goes straight to Chicago. They both reach for the gun. They both reach for the gun. So, my precious. How much is the Hulk worth? Heather wants to know. Do you have an idea?
I'm going to say it's going to be between 100 and 100 and maybe 150 based on its condition.
So that's really great. That's a great thing there. Yeah. Huh?
Green Goblin's worth more.
Green Goblin's worth more. So you found the two of those on the second day when I was there. But you still have, I think, the smallest thing from the find with the biggest sort of, oh my God. And you did post about this in the craft group.
Yeah.
This was something you found on your first day on the pick.
Yeah.
This
monster in my pocket.
It's a monster in my pocket, I think you said. Yeah.
Yeah. His name is Orobus, if I'm saying that correctly. And apparently he's from like 1991 from the Canadian Shreddies box cereal prize. And he's more of the rubbery plastic. And so apparently he's one of the rarer ones.
You bet he is. Take a look at this.
And that's a sold comp that I found. So someone took the best offer on $255, but I don't know for the life of me what that was. And then when he's little, he sat there for days before I even noticed.
Look how big he is. That's a Fisher Price table. Look how small he is.
Yeah.
That's the legs of a Ken. He's just Ken. He doesn't come up to Ken's knees. So I thought it was funny because Donna put that in and then said, would you like to go to this? Yes, please. I'm sure we were both like digging around going, oh, where's the other shred? And David actually said he was looking.
I'm sure David was probably looking after, because I did tell him about that.
Yeah, I think right after you told him about it, he probably just started digging for Shreddies things everywhere. But again, the thing is, that was so small.
And I have no idea how he jumped in my box because I do not remember him from the first pick. He just like jumped in. I'm like, okay. You want to go home?
I'm going to show you a few things that I picked up, and then we'll go and show you some of the surprises that we don't know about from each other. When we did a show that was the best like sales, what's your best of February, somebody posted in that they sold a Cabbage Patch doll for like $250. And I was like, what? A Cabbage Patch for $200? Now, I never really considered looking at Cabbage Patch dolls. And I think it was Sherilyn Pelote who did it. And so, of course, I go into the first room and I see this and I go, I'm buying all the dolls. Like, so I bought 4 Cabbage Patch dolls. Now, the only thing about them is, and I'm going to put this into the research deck. There's an amazing site for identifying Cabbage Patch dolls by their face molds and everything like that. The interesting thing is, the doll that sold for $200 some odd, I think has a special marking. It might be Jmar, I think is the right words. But hey, Hydran, thanks for popping in. But the thing that's nice is this particular doll, and again, she had these wrapped in newspaper in a box, and she taped on a masking tape piece on it, and this one said real hair, and this one said real hair as well. Well, what happened was after it was 1985, again, this is where you would start learning about stuff. The dolls came out with, instead of just the yarn hair, they came out with corn silk hair, which they called real because you could actually comb it. Because as you can see, you can't comb that kind of hair, but you can comb this kind of hair. So these guys probably cost me about $5 a piece. But I think I'm going to be able to list her. She's a face mold number 5. The 1, 2, 3, the face mold number 5 with corn silk hair. I did find her selling for somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 to $50. So $5
Wow.
investment, pretty good there. But I
Good.
did also find this, which was a little bit better. I'm hoping to get but I thought this would be gigantic numbers. It's not. It's probably only going to be, even though he's in his box, he's missing his adoption paper, so we don't know his name. He's nameless. So this guy cost me, I think, another $5, and I'm probably only get about 75 for him as well. So he's not as big of a thing that I thought. Now, one of the other things that I took a picture of as well, David actually found in the shed when he'd been digging, he actually found a couple of dolls that were, he said, like they were disgusting, but I happened to be talking him to showing him G.I. Joes. Yes, the box is in English and French. It's an English-French box. Le Petit Bout de Chou. And when he found these, I said, well, there's G.I. Joes, and he was collecting the G.I. Joes because he got an agreement from the guy who worked there, who owned the house, the woman's son. Any G.I. Joes were his. So I was saying, oh, here's a G.I. Joe. And he's like, oh, that's a Joe. And I was like, yep, that's a 90s Joe. And then he goes, well, I said, are there any others? And over by all those boxes of action figures, he goes, well, there's this guy. And it was a Johnny West figure. So Johnny West was the molded figures from Mark's. He was disgusting. Like, I had gloves on. I didn't even want to touch him with the gloves. He was covered in guck. He had been found in the shed in the back. So I literally like picked him up with a little piece of cloth, dropped him in a clean plastic vintage Value Village bag, rolled it right up, and he said, well, you can have that. So I had it. So took it home. We had to soak him for about 2.5 hours to try and get the crap off of him. And then Rick did as best of a cleaning job as he possibly could on him. And as he did the cleaning job, what ended up happening is his arms fell off. So he ended up becoming an armless man. He still had the spring for him. So there he is. There's the little spring. But you can see it's all rusted. That spring goes between his two arms. Well, we thought, you know what? He happened to be the blue edition of this guy. And Canada, for these Johnny West figures, made different colors than anywhere else in the world. And some people call him Dangerous Dan. Some people call him Sam Cobra. We've got him up on eBay right now, and he's actually on an auction for $50 US, and we already have a bid on it, and it doesn't end until this Thursday night. So, yay! We're happy to have gotten the $50 for him for something that didn't cost us a lot of money. So, other stuff we got is interesting. Now, I'll show you one more thing. And Donna took a video of me with these, so then we can go through a little more on the explanation. So let me show you this one.
I don't know what these are.
So this is typical. It's like opening a bag and having no idea what was in the bag. So this was tied up on the ground, so we just grabbed it.
This is interesting. This is in this bag. I don't know what these are.
Oh, they look like they're crafting pieces. Could I be wrong?
I don't know. Or samples of things you would get from, like, this just looks like some kind of sample card of all sorts of buttons.
Huh. But they almost look like the jeweled things that go into, like, jewelry. Like,
it does. Yeah, that's neat.
Hold on, let me see the back of this.
It says Canada.
Canada. Oh, Canada.
But I love these.
Okay.
It's like,
yeah, cool. Grab those.
So we didn't really know what they were. Didn't bother trying to look them up, but these are what they are. So they actually are from, strange enough, they have Canada on the back, but they're from a company called Stand Free Industries. And I did a Google search on Stand Free Industries, and it is still around to this day. These are more vintage, I think. But these are button samples. So I guess you would have buttons made. You choose the colors you want. I love the images on this. This kind of reminds me of like Blythe or things like that. They're such amazing little images, almost like cameos on these. And the funny thing was,
They're really cool. I like them.
I found one literally today. I was looking it up, and I found a sold on Etsy for salesman sample from Stand Free Industries. So this is actually that cardboard piece that this one had acrylic things on it. This sold for $28. So I'm like, you never know whether something's going to sell. So this is a typical thing where I just bought this and thought, this is really neat. Somebody might want this to pull apart to do something with. So I don't know. I'm probably going to try and, I don't know. I'll be happy if I get $10 a piece on these, but I'll probably try and sell them for more. Might even try them on Whatnot first, which like for a weird stuff show. Weird crud sells. Yes, they are super neat. That's just it. Again, like Mona Lisa, famous people. So I get, I'd like to have this earring set. I don't know. So that was one of the weird things that I found. Another weird thing that I found, and I was talking about in bulk, I found a box that had about 30 of these in it.
I saw them before, but I didn't even like flinch.
You didn't get, yeah. You saw me dumping them into a thing. You're getting this, yeah. Well, I don't know if these will sell. I have actually sold disposable. It's the Bic and disposable became despicable. Disposable Bics for men. Years ago, there was a Goodwill by us, and I bought single razors on a card, single disposable razors on a card, and they were, I think, 50 cents a piece. And I bought they had a bin that probably had 300 in there, and I bought 30 or 40 of them, and the woman gave me a deal of $20 for all 30 or 40. So it was 50 cents, ended up at 50 cents each. I was selling them for $9.95 a piece. I put them up. I sold 5 in 3 days. I went back to buy the other 250 and they were gone. So you never know what would work. Susan says, those razors will sell well in my booth. Well, I ended up buying all of these. I put them on, right now they're on my eBay store. I bulked them in so that people would be able to buy instead. Most people trying to sell these seem to be selling one packet. So I thought, well, you know what? If somebody wants a vintage pack and they're going to pay a little money for it, it's because they like this kind of disposable razor. It's one of their favorites. Just like people who like a certain kind of old cologne that's not made anymore. So I thought if I'm going to put them together, I'm going to at least give people 12 of them. So I'm doing 3 packs. I think I'm putting them at $10 for 3 packs or something like that. So I Elisa, new old stock is favorite. And yeah, Rick reminds me of the prison underwear. Razor bird, here I come. The other thing I bought in bulk that I'm going to show you, and then Donna will surprise me with a couple of things she bought, was something that, this is what I tell you, I buy stuff and it's in bulk and I don't even think about it. Well, I bought these. These are transfer patterns. So it's punch needlepoint embroidery. They're all sorts of different patterns, all sorts of different images. Who knows what's on the images? Just tons of them. They're all new. And I got, well, I guess it's more than 50. This box full. Here we go. This is the whole box full. I don't even know. Maybe there's 100 in there. I thought, I remember these. We had these before. And I brought them home and I showed, look, Rick, look what I got. And he went, why the hell did you buy those? I went, because we sold them before. He goes, no, we donated them before. We had them. We did not sell them. And we donated them before. I was like, okay, I didn't pay a lot of money. But I did find a little research. And I did manage to find somebody. See if I can find that again. I might have lost it. Nope, I did find this one. Donna and I were chatting just before the show. And look, somebody sold just this. Sold a whole lot of them for $15. But somebody sold these Looney Tune ones for $17. A Minnesota Vikings one right there for $7.99. And I've got a San Diego Padres and a Houston Astros. So if I can sell the 2 of these, the rest of the box paid for itself. So that's all I care about. And then that's okay. When you buy a bunch of stuff and you can sell 1 or 2 and everything else is free, that's a nicer way of looking at things. Go, Donna, go. Alan! Ricky!
Yeah, I found Alan and Ricky. So I've got Alan listed on my Etsy. And this is from my first pick.
Elisa just made a point. The hoarder lady bought the ones that I donated, and I just that's very possible.
And then I found what is she,
Ooh.
Barbie or free or
Dramatic Living?
Barbie?
Dramatic Living Barbie, I think.
Something like that. I found her. And then I found Skipper one too. Where are you? Here.
Oh.
There we go. So they were naked, so got those. And remember how you found the 3 Charlie's Angels dolls? So I just found Cheryl Ladd.
Oh, but you got her in her outfit.
No, it's Sabrina's outfit.
Oh, but I mean, it's an outfit. My three were naked.
Had naked ones, and we never found Sabrina. We never.
No,
found
that's
her.
true.
So I don't know. And then I found these are just a bunch of little things. A flocked-haired Ken. That was in the flute, in that flute case. You remember the flute case? Go upstairs. That was in the flute case.
In the flute case, of course, where everybody puts their Kens.
Yeah, in the flute case. And then I got. Hold on. And then I found Quick Curl Barbie and Kelly.
Wow, the Kelly is really hard to find, and she's in nice shape.
Yeah, and this one here is not in bad shape. Her hair is just a little messy, but it's not that wiry, messy.
Yeah, the Quick Curl dolls actually have very thin wire in their hair, and once you comb it out once, it looks like hell. But the Quick Curl Kelly is one of the only brown-eyed Barbies. None of the other dolls came with brown eyes. Kelly came with brown eyes. And that's Kelly's original outfit. That probably is a $75 to $100 doll just for her.
Okay. I've got them listed.
Heather wants to know if you bought the flute.
There was no flute. It was just a flute.
Why would there be a
flute box?
Why would there be a flute?
Yeah, I probably would have bought it if it was cheap enough. And this is the very ugly Mego doll, Tennille, Captain and Tennille. I think that's who she is.
Yes, it is.
Ugly, I don't know, but I just put her in my box anyway.
Love will keep us together. The captain that goes with that is really crazy.
I couldn't find him, but so I bought 30 of these particular dolls. They all have different variations of clothing and hair, but these are the little cuties dolls, and they're new old stock. So I bought 30 of those.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was from the first pick.
It's really interesting. Like even with her as a thrifter, she looked like as a hoarder, if we're calling it that. The places that she got like 30 of those things, or the 2-3 huge boxes of flowers from White Rose, or the 50 little paper doll. So she was buying stuff from who knows where, because I doubt very much that probably had to come from a garage sale or something like that. I don't think that 30 of those would have shown up at a Value Village.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking David said something about she had an antique store a long time ago. This lady, if that's true, I don't know. So that's where I think some of the other things came from. But I don't know. Like I even have more of these. I have probably about almost 60 of them in total.
The nice thing was there were lots and lots of stuff that we both picked up that was like. It was nice because it was a very much a sort of toy person. Like they really concentrated on dolls, plush, toys, like everything on the side. I mean, I got the 2 things I had behind me. This was one, which was that fell over. This is Barbara Ann Scott. And the only reason I picked her up, I didn't know who it was when I first looked at her. For those of you who are in the States, Barbara Ann Scott was actually one of Canada's first, I believe, gold medal figure skaters back in the 50s. And so popular, they actually made a doll of her, a number of dolls. Now, if she had been in there's a white outfit with fur, it's actually sold for $150. But what got me was I saw that. I picked it up without knowing who she was because I thought, oh, look, little skates. That's why I grabbed her. So I think I might have just broken her neck, and she has it's a composition doll. So she's looking down at when she's going to do her next spin. I'm going to put her down. Then I had this other one, which again I grabbed for, I don't know why. This is a little creepier, but it's just so interesting. So I love it when you find something that's interesting. Look at this guy. We can't find him anywhere. We've done our Carl searches. It doesn't really look homemade. Like, it's, the shoes are perfect on it. The outfit fits it. The look is kind of Dutch. It's like composition, painted. It's just a really, but then the body looks like it was plastic and someone painted over it. I just couldn't resist something like that. Kind of folk arty. Yeah, I guess that's a way to look at it. As again, I'm going to try and do some more research on it. His clothing was stuck to his legs, kind of like the Farrah's. It's like an old school version of Caillou, I think. And yes, Barbara Ann Scott looks like she'll kill us in her sleep. So that's... So these were just things that, again, I picked up because it was like, oh, that looks neat. That looks neat. Is there something else you picked up that looked neat? Donna?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. You offered this to me to take a Chrissy doll.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's a mess. I've got.
I think I found her and said, "Here's a Chrissy" on that one.
Yeah,
because I have like 10 of them. So I didn't need it.
Yeah. Trying to think. I found some little, like, several of these little dolls from the Reliable Toy Company in Toronto, and they were clean, and I just bought a bunch, and I figured a quick booth, quick sale in my booth. So I found a lot of them.
Now, Donna, just so those of you who aren't familiar with it or not, the idea on the selling side of things is Donna actually has 3 booths now.
I have 3, but I'm closing one down next month.
So, but she does sell from antique malls. So Donna's going to come back to us in April, and we're going to do a show that's just talking about how does it work to sell in an antique mall? What's it like? How do the sales go? All that sort of stuff. So we're going to do a show on a Tuesday night hall pass with Donna and 1 or 2 other people who actually sell from antique malls and antique booths to talk to them about that. So Donna will be back again to talk to you about that. What else you got there?
Well, I asked you at the end of our pick, I said,
"Oh, Gem."
Hey, and you said Gem. I went, "Do you want her?" You said, "No." So I said,
I have about 16 gems I have to try and go through too. So some of it, sometimes we buy stuff. I mean, I actually did pick up a couple of gems. I will show you like a quick sort of look at something that I did, which is, see if I can get this here. Where'd that go? This is my box of dolls. So don't think I missed out on getting any of the dolls. She got a lot of great dolls, that is for sure. But I got a few. This is my box of dolls. So there's my 3 naked Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
But I got a Luke Skywalker.
Lucky.
I got a naked Sonny Bono.
Ah.
I got a $6 million man who needs the bio. We found this one together who was missing his legs. A Julia doll. There's one of my gem dolls right in the back there. I think there's another gem inside there. These are a couple of clones. This is full of dolls. So I didn't miss out on getting dolls too. There's that Cabbage Patch doll falling on her head. This is Adrian, if he's watching, will know that this is Mary Poppins. This is a reliable Mary Poppins with nipples. Very hard to find doll. So I did get some other dolls too. Didn't want you to think, oh, Donna took all the dolls from Craig. No.
And you know what? You did a lot of digging when you went there after me for your first pick. So
yeah.
Places I just couldn't get into. Like I was on the first floor for quite a long time, and then barely upstairs until you and I did our pick. But I found this one.
That's really pretty.
Yeah, I thought she was really nice. I didn't know anything about it, and she was wearing a majorette outfit, which is for a different doll, which I took off of her, and I'm selling it separately for about $15. And then this doll, I did do a Google search, and she's what is she? She's a 1950s jointed Aranabee Nanette doll. But she goes for, I'm going to sell her for $125. I've listed her anyways, but she's going in my booth because I've sold composite dolls before in my booth. So she's a booth piece. So
okay. We got about 5 more minutes. I'm just going to show a couple more things that I popped on, or I popped in here. one, and again, I bought this. I know he'll have to be fixed, but people would say, why would you buy this? I got this guy because he was very cute, and he is missing an eye. But he thought he's so cute. He's actually a vintage Mary Thought doll. Mary Thought. And this is the kind of thing that Rick loves trying to just do a little bit of a cleaning on. So he's really cute. We also found this little Elmer Fudd. Again, this is just weird. Like, oh, this was in the bottom of a bag. And I think the top of the bag had some other stuff that had nothing to do with anything else in it. And then I'm going to show the final one I'll show you here that I just thought was, that I didn't even know. I just got to grab this guy because I thought he was cute. Well, Rick did a little cleanup when I brought him home. He's Stife. He's a Stife doll. He is missing his button in ear that's gone from him. But it might be Sooty, actually, Lisa. I thought that. I was thinking it might be Sooty. That's what I was thinking, too. And I'll try and replace his eye if I need to. But, yeah, this is a little Stife doll. I have no idea. But, wow, button. The question, will normally Stife dolls inside their ear, they have a little gold button that indicates it is a Stife doll. But Rick did his research on it. So he's a little jointed bear. And I didn't even think anything of him other than he was, oh, he's so cute. I got to pick him up because he's so cute. And I thought he'll be friends with the one-eyed one because that way they can play together.
That Stife one, do you think?
Huh?
Is he a more contemporary one, or do you think he's an older one?
I think Rick might, if he's there. I think he asked Mandy Kennett, who is in our craft group, and she actually deals in Stife. There you go. Rick's got it right up there. It's a Stife Zotty teddy bear.
Oh. Which
doesn't mean anything to me yet.
That doesn't mean anything to me either.
Louette says there might be a stitch on his chest where his chest tag would have been. Oh, okay. But again, this is all part and parcel of the type of stuff that we got. You got any last things to show? Okay. From your dining room table, or?
I bought like a bag of like Kinder Surprise toys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I said, you know what? I'm gonna just look them over and see if I can put any in my booth. I gave some to my sister, who's a collector, and yeah, got a whole bag.
Oh, he's Pumpkinhead. That's what Lisa says. Oh my God, he's Pumpkinhead. Oh, okay. I gotta look up. I know that name too. Okay. I have a little shoebox downstairs too, Donna, that I was literally like, oh, this, and I was like, oh, this was in the bottom of a bag, and I did find 3 or 4 of. Not your Shreddies guy, but those type of things. I actually found a little, I think it was Gizmo from the Gremlins. It was a little rubber Gizmo guy. And he actually sells for like $15. So no $150 or $250 guy, but he was in the bottom of a bag somewhere as well. So I got Chimp the Cowboy, if anybody wants an 8mm film.
Cool.
So again, there was a Ziploc bag that was from Value Village that had these things in it. So I just grabbed them without even looking at what was inside that. So a lot of fun. We got tons of stuff that the two of us are going to be going through for weeks on end to try and get done, try and get selling on. So when Donna comes back for her, this is how you work antique malls. Maybe we'll do a little update then as to some of the stuff that she may have ended up selling, because she's got some of her stuff already listed. I actually have some of our stuff listed right now as well. So it's been a lot of fun doing all this digging. So thank you so much, Donna, for showing us your haul and for calling us and saying, hey, maybe you want to dig there too.
You're welcome.
Donna, if you have questions for anything that Donna had, Donna is in our Facebook group, the craft group, Canadian Resellers and Fantastic Thrifters, or Crazy Resellers for the 10% of you who are outside of Canada. So you can always ask Donna anything. She has the post in there. And Donna and I will keep posting too over the next couple of weeks. Maybe we'll try and post at least 1 or 2 things a week that we found from the Hoarder Haul, so that you can see other stuff that we have around us that we did. There's the whole box over here I didn't even get to. Oh, I forgot all about this box. I have to go through all of this. Look, it's an entire box just filled with doll clothes. I have no idea what's in any of these doll clothes. I don't know if there's anything good or not, but oh my God. Lisa says there's one on Etsy for $1,800 Canadian. Oh, for this? Does he have both eyes? Can I give him an eye from this? Can I just put one of these buttons on his eye? I got to do a little more research on this guy.
Right, that is Pumpkinhead. I've seen him before in auction.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you
did
for
put out-
telling me that. And I'm glad I just at the end went, look what I forgot to show you guys. Thanks so much, Donna, again, for being part of the show tonight, being part of Craft, and for having us go thrifting at a holiday haul or something. And the nice thing is, David did tell us that in a couple of things, he may have 1 or 2 more houses coming up. So Don and I might be able to do one of these coming up in the future. Don't know if it'll be this big of a crazy little haul of that's filled with stuff like this, but you never know what will come up when we're out there doing our digging. I'll call him Popeye. Don't replace the eye. Call him Popeye. Thanks, Luann. Our hoarder haul. Yay! This is fun. Thanks so much to everyone for being a part of. Where's my picture? There it is. Wrong picture. There we go. Oh, that's not the right picture. Why is that going? Oh, I know. I forgot to do this. There we go. Thanks for being part of our hoarder haul. Thanks, Donna, again. Bye, everyone. See you again next week. Woof.